And here saying that color component. I'm naming this as a color component. Okay. See, always ensure that color component implements this stuff. Like, let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, you can able to see, right? Yeah. Okay. So always the color component will implement this stuff. Navigation service and work service. Navigation service and work service, nothing but a nav space and workspace. So lightning colon navigation, because you are trying to navigate from one component to another component in this case, isn't it? So we can implement aura colon id. Let's say this name as a nav service. The same thing we have to implement for workspace, lightning colon workspace API aura colon id equal to workspace. Okay. Workspace is a single word. SPAC. So this is like our component. Okay. So what we can do here, we can give one lightning. Let me declare one div tag slds class equal to slds hyphen card, and this should implement, say, into which interface it need to implement. Implements equal to force colon have postable. Which one that available for all pages we use? What's the interface? Yeah, postable. Which namespace it will come? Whether it is a force or it is a lightning. Force colon have hostable. Right, deploy it. Let it get deployed. It's taking time to get deployed. Meanwhile, before it get deployed, we'll see another example here. I just wanted to show you something. Body CMP. Okay, I created a component called body CMP. Nothing to do with this. And I'll define this as a v dot body. We can define something a static. This is like a by default it will get v dot body. Okay. If I have a lightning application, I'll create body CMP app, and I'll say C colon body CMP save. Here, what will be the output for this? From body component, and I'll say BR. Okay. What will be the outcome if I see a preview? Okay. Okay. Just text. If I want to pass any value to this component, what I need to use attribute, isn't it? But instead of passing the data, we can also do something like this. Here, if I say Parag, now where this will come, whether this will come before or it will come after this text. Now you can see automatically it got updated, right? Now, if I don't have a body here, if I don't have a body here, if I don't have a body here, then even it will not display. This will gonna assign directly to v dot body. If I have multiple v dot is bodies defined, okay? So what it will come? It will come all the way for all bodies it got updated. See? So if you want to pass anything in middle, if you want to pass anything in middle, you need to define a stuff called v dot body. And not only that, let's say I'll say here aura colon handler. We have handler HNDL handler spelling right. Name equal to init, value equal to this, action equal to onload c dot onload action. Okay. Whenever this component load, the first thing it will execute called onload. The init handler will execute first always. Okay. So if I go here, component dot set v dot body colon Deepak save. So what will be the output in this case? What will be the output? Whether the output is Deepak I am from body or it just like Parag I am from body or how it will come. You can see Parag only. Why? Because this body is directly reading from here, right? This is we never define this v dot body attribute inside our app component. But this Parag will gonna as a text will gonna replace by v dot body. If I want to replace the same thing, I can say here v dot body. This v dot body is resulted to app because it is loading in middle. It is gonna update to child component. Now component dot set v dot body. But why it is not updating? Let's say is my action name wrong? On controller action only. Oh, sorry. Select body equal to component that this is right. Whatever I'm doing is right. Component dot set v dot body equal to Deepak. So I'm assigning it BODY, right? BODY alert 10. And okay, this is not updating. But actually, whatever we are doing is right, but we are not getting alert. You might to refresh. Oh, spelling wrong. Save alert. It got executing, but it is not setting up. If I say alert 10, let data equal to component dot get p dot body and data dot push Deepak component dot get v dot body equal to. I think this way I should do. No, 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 no. Where? No, no, no. I don't want to write anything. So let's do this. Whether it is an issue with might be a function or like a loading actions. I don't know. I'm just calling the same thing from a controller directly. I'm just checking whether if v.body is not accessible. I never tested this type of scenario in v.body inside the app. v.body, save, refresh, component.get, v.body, data component event push. Okay. Looks like there is an issue. We can have something like this, but I'm not able to capture the right example for this. But I can show you the example like how it actually works in the system. So let me add this component to the page. Pressing. Edit page. Postable, but that is not coming right. Color component. Parent component. Force colon app. Okay, available for flexi pages that I need to have. Save. But interesting, v.body should assign always. Oh, hi Sunil. I'm facing some trouble, Sunil. Like these methods are not updating, even though I'm having my color components ready. I'm from body, and this is invoking, right? How do I handle onload action? Onload action, not body. Looks like an issue with this. Ah, okay, it's got deployed. Let me refresh. Color component. Say. Okay. Now I'll create one component name here saying that lightning colon input type equal to text value placeholder enter component name to display, enter component name to display, and then saying that lightning colon button on click create brand delete 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 destructive. Okay, so this is my component that I created, and I'll go to my controller and I'll say create component is my method name, and I'll go to my helper so that I can, okay, this is already helper HLP. This is my controller. and I'll call my helper from here. Helper dot. Yep. So inside component, first what we need to get our component name, right? Get what CMP. So CMP, how can you get based on your ID? Find dot get v dot value, and I'm giving ID name is CMP name is my ID input value. So how I have here aura colon ID, alright. And then what we need to get? Once we get a name, then the name should be concatenate with C colon. The name should be concatenate with C dot. C dot, sorry, C colon. This is how you'll call your component, right? You can see C colon. So C colon your component name. So the same thing we did it C colon and the component name whatever you're going to enter in the input value. Okay, and then we need to do a create component event. There is a event called secure $a dot create component. There is a component called create component. Oh, CTR. CTR. I'm gonna duplicate it. Create component inside create component. Open bracket, close the bracket, semicolon. The first parameter will go your component name, and then the component will have a parameters or not. Component will have your parameters or not, right? Like set params. For now, I'm setting my params in a different place so that just to avoid confusions in this case. Okay. Ideally, we can pass directly by pasting like flower bases and I can pass, but this case I'm not doing. I just wanted to make it clear and syntax simple for a reading. Return, I'm saying simple, right? I'm just returning something. Ultimately, we need to return. So this is my function name. How can I call my function name here? Let's say let params equal to this dot. We can use this also. Either you can say helper dot or you can also say this dot. Both are same. Okay. This dot component name and I'm passing my params. Once parameter is passed, then what should we do? And the third parameter for is function. For the third parameter for our is function. What function we have? Function. So I define my function. In function we have two things. New component is just a variable that you are going to create, and then status, and then you have if any error message. I mean, all these are parameters that you are initializing. The component will have your all the properties, the one you are trying to create. Status will return whether the component is successful or fail. And error means if it is failed, what is the error? So now we can check. See, always it's a good practice to check the status. Status equal to success, success spelling right? And we can see else if anything goes wrong, we can display alert create CMP error. So I can say JSON dot, and you can use this as a toast service. Yesterday we saw about toast message, right? How we can do a toast message if something goes wrong. Let body equal to component dot get v dot body dot push. You need to push your new component in this case. Whatever component you are trying to create, that you need to push. And then you can say component dot set v dot body colon your body, the variable. Okay, this is the only thing that you can do. See, and now for doing this, we need to set our dev v dot body, and I'll define the same class slds cart, and this is where is this? Yep, no body cmp. Okay, now I'm deploying it. We'll see whether we get an output or not. Refresh. So we have component name. After clicking if I pass my component, if I click create, it should display the component whatever I entered here with the body loaded. Okay, that's the expectation. We'll see whether that is working or not. If it is fails, what is the fix that we have to do? In the parameters, you can pass the way we are passing parameters always like the child attribute equal to parent values. The same thing we can do either component.get or component.get reference. You know the difference between component get and component.get reference, right? So what I'll do, I'll just print this one, body CMP. So what is the component? Body CMP. body CMP create. You got it? The component got created, right? Let's say we need to delete this. Let's say we need to delete. Let's say I'll create one more component called, what is this component name? We can get from here only. Let me pick it up, the name quickly. Basic data binding. This is our component name. If I say create, we got two. We have here and we have this, right? If I create another one, it got creating ultimately, right? See, it just gonna add it one by one, one by one, one by one. It will not replace entire body. Why it is not replacing? You can see the syntax. We are getting body and we are pushing it, right? No. We never replace. We got body and we are adding to that array always. If I want to replace, so all I need to say square brackets, semicolon. Now it will get replaced, right? But our case, we are not doing that. We are not doing that. So in this case, we are trying to add continuously. If I want to delete this component, then how can I delete it? Let's see, added. How can I delete it? So to delete, what we can do, while setting a parameters, we can also pass our aura IDs. How can you pass aura IDs? Double quotes, aura colon ID, right? And then I'll say my component name itself is my aura ID. Okay. Now I'll get my unique values, isn't it? Now I got my unique values, right? So I'm setting each component I'm creating, I'm setting aura ID to that parameter. Now refresh it. Body CMP create. You can delete. Okay, delete function we never written. Sorry. So delete CMP. So delete CMP is dead easy. Delete CMP colon function. component, comma event, comma helper. So if it is delete that if we want to do, you can say let destroy cmp destroy body equal to component, whatever names I'm using, these are not standard, guys. This is for my reasoning. This is how I write my code in my project. So I'm used to it, the variable names. So I'm keeping it. Component that find. What is the component that name you need to find? Whatever input you are entering here, right? Whatever data you are getting, whatever component that you give, that need to be deleted. Let's say let cmp aura id. We are doing based on Aura ID. We are not doing based on component name. Why we are doing that? Because while creating component, we are setting component name as a Aura component, Aura ID. Okay. Component dot find. So once we got this component, once we got this destroy component name based on the ID, and you can see component. Oh, what's the syntax that we have? Like component control space component to destroy something we have. Component to destroy. This is a component dot destroy. Component dot to destroy is a method that we have class destroy body or like destroy. Spelling correct, right? Destroy. Component to destroy nothing but your component dot destroy. Okay, this one. Destroy body, whatever you find, and then you need to say destroy. Destroy. Component to destroy is nothing but your destroy body in this case. So whatever name you will provide, that need to be destroyed. So I can create multiple. Like it just adds continuously. It will not understand. When you can do like one component is already loaded. If you want to restrict that you should not load, then you can check, hey, whether there is any component that find. If you get any results with this, you can try, hey, component is already loaded. Please check before you create. See, ideally you will not in a real time, right? You will not able to create something like by passing your component, you will not create on actions, you will be doing the same thing the way we are assigning parameters here, right? This is just a simple that I'm saying I had input, I'm creating it, but in real time, from one step to another step, you know which component you need to load and you need to call those components dynamically. You understood how to apply, right? Yeah. So don't say that, hey, Deepak told me we have to input enter. That's it's like a simple example that we are dealing, but in real time you'll not having anything. It'll say get total selected records. If I on click off this one, I need to load a different component to show the selected records. Like you can imagine this way. Get total selected, this button. From this button you can define your method, I mean component name, and you can load whatever you wanted. And body CMP create. It got created. Delete. Deploy, refresh, body CMP, create, delete. Why this is not working? Inspect, console, is anything goes wrong here? Empty cache and hard reload. Set params. I have like destroy component.find. Oh, I'm very sad guy. I need to pass this as a parameter, but I'm passing as a static string where you don't have anything in this one, so you'll not get like destroy one, right? Deploy. Component.find cmp name get.v.value, and I got my Aura ID. That Aura ID will be my finder. Finder will get my body of that component, and then I'm saying destroy. Destroy will gonna delete that from the DOM. Yeah. But if you want to do all this stuff, you need to have nav service first, okay? You need to have a nav service, okay? You should ensure that you have a nav service so that it will navigate from one component to another component dynamically. CMP body. No component name. This is an error. No component name. This is what, like, whatever the component name I'm giving, it might be wrong. BODY CMP. I am giving in a reverse. BODY CMP. Create. Got it. Delete. Why it is not deleting this much? See, you can see once I created, it is not deleting anymore, right? Because whatever data you are getting here, whatever data you are getting, it's array, isn't it? So once you get array, you need to iterate through all the elements and you need to destroy it, right? Yep. That's the difference you have. Like if I say want to create component because it is not there, no component name and markup found, and you can throw error. And here you also understand we are also passing parameters. If I have like a custom attribute, let's say what is this one? Control P, data binding we have, right? Binding data, binding. Okay. This repository have know that's code. So what I'll do, I'll just go back. Let's see. Open resource, body CMP. Mhm. Data binding, binding data CMP. So I'll try to pass these values, okay? First name, last name. So what we can do here, it's simple. If we want to pass any parameter, we can say comma, double quote, and we can say colon, component dot get reference. We can use this one also. Component dot get reference of, and you can define your variable also. You can use either component dot get or component dot find, whatever you want it to do. Right? Component dot get reference means it will gonna assign as a pass by reference. Get value means pass by value, right? So you can apply those concepts if needed. Basic data binding is a component name. Let's go here, and if you want to check this component name, keep it here. It will load, and you can get the name of the component, the data component ID. The parent ID you can see. This is our namespace separated by data binding component. This is your component name. If I want to get this component, I can go and I can highlight it and I can see parent component. So you can read the components from here only. What are the components that you are using? Inspect elements and you can highlight it and mark wherever you want it and pick up the data component ID at the header level. Okay. If I need my child components, this is my child, right? Account details is my child. Uh, okay. Oh, here, no, update. Okay. This is my child. You can see child component, right? So you have to read the data something like this. So if you are debugging, so you can use console, inspect elements, and you can do. So you know the all the concepts of lightning, okay? You know each and every concepts of lightning now, the basics. Now it's your time to explore with the new options. Methods remain same, guys, okay? Data reading, you know how to read the data, you know how to pass the data. Yeah, there is one more concept left called HTML data attributes. Yeah, good thing that that is also something very important. I can give you one task, okay? Try to complete it, and yeah. So what is my component name? Say first component, basic data binding. create, you can see, right, data is also assigning, isn't it? You got it? Let's say instead of using this, I'll do something like this. I'll also do something like this. Lightning, oh, aura, colon, attribute, name equal to CMP name, type. What is the type? It is string, right? So I'll pass this as my value. Even though if you declared value, if you know Aura ID, you can get data always through Aura IDs. It's okay. Here, instead of component.getFind, I'll say get reference of CMP name and I'll create a component now. Okay. So instead of get, I'm using get reference. Data binding, Control C, delete it. Control V, delete. Data binding, okay, delete. Now what we are using get reference in the sense if I change value here, it also updates the child component value. That what my understanding was. I mean a single value. I mean two different places with the same data references. That is called get reference. Okay. So let's refresh it. Let's refresh it. So what I do, I'll just create a component now. I created a component. What happened? Data binding is not there. No, 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 no. Component.get reference. I have here default deploy because it is a null. Now I'm defining it as some value. Refresh. Refresh. Data binding. What is the page? You might need to refresh it. Okay, refresh it. Inspect. Empty cache and hard reload. Create. What the hell is this? No error object script. Anonymous code. Lightning layout. What is causing error here? No, 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 no. Would you like to give some reporting? This page has error, technical error. So what we are doing here, saying CMP name and value is CMP name. Let's say F name. This will not cause any issue. And in helper component dot get. Oh, sorry, it's v dot reference. I need to use a syntax. I missed the syntax. It should be v dot, right? It's not just name. It should be v dot. My bad. My expectation, whatever I write here, this should update automatically to the component name, right? That's the expectation. Because I'm using get reference. If I use only get, then this will not create such issues. Yeah, I didn't use it this v dot. I miss that's a syntax issue. It would be nice if we have some intelligence to say, hey, this is something wrong, this is something right. But it's very hard here. You can see now. See, right? The same thing if I do for last name. Instead of get reference, if I use like get, last name. Instead of get reference, I'll use get. Now, first time it will assign data, for second time it will not assign data. Refresh. Basic data binding. You got it? If I change, no changes because this is get. Once value is passed, it passes. Nothing but a hash. This is exclamatory mark. See? Multiple places, but you are referring to a same data. So it means that you have an handy that you can always update. You don't want to worry about data is updated or not updated, right? Clear? Any question on this creating component and using like setting a parameters and how to delete? Delete. Oh, okay. Delete. Clear, Sunil? You have any questions?